You're listening to Thrill Talk, where we discuss business, life, and everything else we like. Produced in Tucson, Arizona, and brought to you by Team Integrity Homes and the Military PCS Referral Network. Here's Aaron and Chase.
All right. We are
Back at it.
back.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
We
so I
are
was gone
back.
last week, and you were here last week, and you're leaving this week, and I'm going to be here this week. Does that make sense?
And then you leave,
Just zigzagging.
and then we both get back, and then we both leave.
That's right. So I was up
Busy
in Colorado.
time.
Yeah, I was
So
up in
Colorado, tell me about it. What'd you do?
You know what? There's a lot of stuff. Actually, did a little bit of fishing with my dad and my brother, and then actually just prior to that, I went up there to a wedding for a young man that just was a young kid when I first met him, and he was a good friend of my. Well, actually, he was a son of a good friend of mine that passed away, and then so kind of watching him evolve is pretty cool.
So let's break this down. Allegedly, your fishing crew caught the biggest trout ever in that lake.
That's right. That's right.
How big?
Big. It was big.
4 feet?
Yeah, not quite. It's a fishing story, so yeah, about 3.5. No, it's 20, 26 inch, 25, 26 inch.
Dang.
Yeah, for lake trout.
That's
Not
pretty big.
Too shabby.
And then you guys did not stay at the Hampton Inn.
No,
The wedding was not at some random park. Where was it?
It was Stanley Hotel, the haunted hotel.
So
From The
for
Shining.
I was going to say for people born after 1990.
Yeah,
Shining.
the movie The Shining, and actually they're coming out with a sequel.
Are they-
The Shining
are you really?
2. Yes, they are. Should be actually, I think, at the end of this month, but it's pretty
Nice.
cool. Yeah, beautiful hotel. A lot
The
of history there.
Shining came back with a red rum koozie.
That's right. I thought that was class act.
That's pretty cool.
Gift. Yeah. Actually, one of the guys there, I actually ran into one of the guys that was in the wedding, and he said that he listens to our podcast. I was like, holy smokes, that's only,
That's 3 now.
that's 3, yes.
That is amazing.
So, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Floyd Martinez, thank you.
So what else? Who all went up there to the wedding?
It was actually, I went by myself, and my buddy that had passed away 13 years ago there, his 3 brothers that were at the funeral, obviously, they met up again there. So they came in from all parts of the U.S.
And then your dad.
Nope. My dad was down in Colorado Springs. So I just
Yeah,
kinda
you guys
took
went
it.
fishing down there.
Yeah.
And then your brother went fishing.
He did.
Kids.
And then the kids.
Nice. That's awesome. That is fun stuff. It's nice to live in an area like that where you can just go to the lake real quick.
Yeah, and I had actually no cell service for the entire time up in the mountain. It was actually pretty unique. Lots of
Nice.
dogs, lots of deer.
Nice.
Interesting. Yeah.
We in the old Delperdang household had a busy weekend of sports, and I attempted to cut my son's hair.
Yeah, attempted, I heard.
I
I heard you succeeded, though.
I succeeded on half of it. So he's got this very long on top, trendy haircut, and I tried to save $30, and he has a shaved head now.
What's up with the trend of the long hair on top now?
It's like long, and and I don't know. I tried to if you want a one on the sides to fade up to a regular haircut on the top, I can do that all day long because it's symmetrical and it's even.
Yes.
This did not end up well, and I said, "Hey, bud, how about I buy you Starbucks if we shave your head?" And he did, and he was not happy.
Yeah.
So we're one and done with dad giving haircuts to
That's
the kids.
hilarious.
Yep.
A Flowbee. Get a Flowbee.
His hair was so long on top that he probably could have.
Yeah.
So, so what do we got next week? Next week we have probably one of the biggest events of the year for us.
Yes, it is. I do believe.
We've got our annual summit, so that means that we've got everybody flying in or driving in from all of our different locations across the country, and they will all be coming in, and we will have a powwow for 2 or 3 days in Phoenix. And it is goal setting. It's reviewing the past year. It's just a big hoorah.
Yeah, and I think the thing is it's packed with so much stuff that, I think everybody walks away with kind of the mind kind of razzled a little bit. But ultimately, kind of gear them up, get their head straight, not that it isn't, but just, refocused.
Yeah,
recalibrated.
especially in a market that starting to see a lot of shifts, and it's amazing seeing the different locations like Tucson to Vegas to Kansas City, what that looks like.
Yeah. And each different pockets are shifting, things are happening.
Price
and
points.
a lot of people go, I don't want to hear about the shift. No, it's okay. Just here's the thing. Just listen to it and understand that you need to be moving ahead of the shift instead of shifting too late,
Yeah.
You want to be in front of them.
Absolutely. We were talking about coaching. So we have a coach we've talked about numerous times, and the reason that it kind of brought this up was we recently, about 2 months ago, so my daughter pitches, and I 2 years ago did not know a whole lot about softball pitching mechanics, and have learned mechanics and everything else, but we kind of hit this place where I was tapped out on my ability. So we went and for the first time have hired a what I'd call a professional, because our pitching coach is awesome. So once a week, Serene and her friend Kennedy sit down, and they've got professional pitching lessons. So we went out and hired a coach. And her ability to pitch has grown exponentially as a result of that. It's amazing the difference when you hire somebody to speak into above your skill set, and to recognize that.
So let me ask you this: with coaches, I don't know. I've had a ton of coaches and still do, obviously. Do you have to like your coach?
No, and and you've had, when I look at coaches, especially real estate coaches, you've had the opportunity to work with two of the best, Kristen Cole and JT. You do not have to like them. You've got to respect them.
I was going to say that's where I was going.
Yeah,
you may not like the actions that what they're trying to
no, and you
come across.
You've got to respect their background, and I don't think that you need to have somebody that you get along with all the time, or that only speaks positive stuff, because sometimes you need a kick in the butt.
Well, I think that's one of the things that people think about coaching is they always have to come across with something that's, I don't want to say criticizing, but trying to find the flaws, consistently. I think a good coach is one that's going to be able to identify the stuff that you're doing good and the stuff that can be tweaked to get exponential results versus just, telling you what to do, but understanding why you have to do it.
So, and a good coach is going to help you come up with the answer, or bring out the answer, or sometimes a good coach will just cause you to have more questions.
I did have a coach. This was many years ago, early in the real estate career, and I tell you what, I won't give the organization, I won't give who it was or whatnot, but I felt that coach was learning a lot of stuff from
you?
From me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? I'm going backwards here, trying to explain stuff. And it just, so I think, trying to find that coach and understand it's different than a mentor.
Yeah.
And understanding that, trying to find them is the key.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are afraid to fire a coach too. I went through, when I started, first experience of coaching was, I think I went through 3 coaches in a matter of 4 months. One was two coaching sessions in, I figured out real quick we were not going to be a match. Another one was once you cancel 2 times in a row, we're done.
Oh yeah.
And anyways, but looking at this and the difference between a coach, a mentor, and a consultant. So a coach facilitates the development of personal or professional objectives. The coach does not provide you with the answers to the challenges or even tell you what to do. Instead, the coach acts as a facilitator to help you ask better questions. A mentor gives those with less experience advice and assists in specific areas. For example, when mentoring someone, In product management, we may cover specific technical or tools that they need to understand better. And a consultant is brought in to answer specific questions and address specific challenges for organization. And typically, I think with these, there's different time lengths too. I think with a consultant, there's definitely 9 times out of 10 with consultants, you've done consulting work as well. There's an end date. There's an end. I think with
an expected result. In other words, it's expected to have some sort of an outcome, a predetermined outcome,
and usually a financial predetermined outcome.
Yeah.
With mentors and coaches, I can see those tie in a little bit more together, but there is definitely differences there.
So what about let me ask you this. So therefore, I always look at it too, and I'll use your analogy of your hair cutting. It doesn't look like you have a career in cosmetology of cutting
at
hair
this point,
or being
no.
a barber.
At this point, no.
Unless you really get coached up.
Correct.
So taking a look at the results or the success trail of the individual is key to myself. When I look at somebody, I'm not going to talk to a financial advisor that's not financially savvy.
You're not going to learn how to cut hair from a barber that's got a jacked up head of hair.
Even though he didn't cut his own hair.
Yeah. Or he tried to.
Or maybe he did. Yeah. And that's the thing that I look at. And I see so many people that, they may be taking a look at, financial advice from other people. And then you look at the individual that's giving the advice and you're like, wait a minute here. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, just questions that.
Why do you think people don't get coaches? Because I would say, let's use real estate for example. Mm-hmm. Would you venture to say 5% have coaches?
I would say less than that.
Yeah,
I really would. But what I do know is the top earners have coaches.
Yeah,
and have multiple coaches. I think cost goes into it a little bit.
Okay.
I also think that, and I'm not bashing the industry, but I think in real estate, most agents think that they already know it all. And therefore, they don't want to take that criticism because, we're independent contractors. We control our own destiny. So therefore, who are you to tell me what to do?
Yep.
So an ego gets in the way as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ego and pride is, I don't need something, or, people, the financial cost to it. And when I look at it though, going, say it's $1,000 a month, let's use real estate because that's just in the world we're in. That's 2 transactions a year. Mm-hmm. $12,000. That's for Tucson, 2 transactions a year. That is, if you can find a coach that will hold you accountable and help you increase your transaction count by 2 in a 12-month period, you've paid for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look more for a 3 or 3x return on almost anything that I do.
Yeah.
So it's gotta result more. So if we're doing 200 transactions a year, we're needing to do 600 in order for me to make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The coaching piece is huge, and it's just amazing that people don't have it out there, or people just jump from coach to coach, and they don't commit to anything long term as well. They get coaches until you start working.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh well, I'm doing great. I don't need a coach anymore.
I already know it.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your take on let's just go with football, on a coach that has never played?
I think that there is,
because the credibility there is a little lost there. However,
yeah, but I think that how many boxing coaches are former world champions?
Yeah, well,
not a lot.
That's because they've had their bell rung.
That's true. I don't think that necessarily has to have it. I don't think that you had to have been the best in that field to be a coach. Mm-hmm. Here's a perfect example. Josh Pastner. He played for the U of A, and was not the best in the world by any means. He was dedicated as all get out and became and is a great college coach. So I don't think that you necessarily have to have been the best in that field or set records or anything like that. I think you have to have a very good competency of whatever you're coaching, you know.
And I think it's human interaction and communication as well. Being able to listen to the other individual and know why they're struggling, or maybe not even a struggle, but having the capability to enhance their situation.
Yeah, you know, how many people do we know? Like, let's use Josh Team for example. He is the vice president of the largest real estate company in the world. Mm-hmm. He has never sold a house.
True that.
Now, I would venture to say that Josh knows more about running a business, a real successful real estate business, because of the people that he's been around now and exposed to, than people that are doing a ton of transactions, because he's been able to learn and the people that he's surrounded himself with as well.
Correct.
I look at Anthony Azar. Anthony Azar has been very successful in real estate, never had a real estate license. Mm-hmm. You know, so I don't think it's the majority. I think it's the minority for sure. But I think it all comes down to time on task and research and being coached as well, you know?
Yep.
So, yeah, what's your take on it?
I think the individual, like I said, I think the individual has got to have that communication skill and being able to find things in the individual that are, you know, on a scale, you know, on the positive side of what they're doing right, what they're doing, what they can do to enhance their ability, you know, because everybody has a lid, obviously, and if you're able to kind of tweak something within their, I don't even want to say processes, but within their organization to allow them to break through that lid, it builds confidence in that individual. So therefore, then they can, you know, break the systems and then just build them back up in a different manner, what they never knew that they could.
Yeah, and it goes, I think that the difference between coaching and consulting. So you cannot have, in examples, could you take a professional baseball player or somebody that came out of the services and implement them into a team setting in real estate and have them help in a great way coaching? Absolutely.
Yes, you can.
Would I trust them to come consult on how to run the real estate business? Probably not.
Yeah.
So I guess it's what your outcome is. Creating habits. How much of real estate is habit related? You know, when you create good, healthy habits, the sky's the limit.
Well, and I think that's one of the enemies as well. Once you create habits, they're hard to break, and a lot of times you don't even know they're a bad habit.
Yeah.
And if it's let me take away the word bad. It's a habit that is not
optimal.
Getting you the results that you really could, you know, achieve. And I think that's complacency. You start to get into that realm, and they don't even know it. You know, we all do it. You know, we're creatures of habit. You know, and trying to break that system is tough. And I think somebody that's able to tell you to knock it off, you know, in a way to where you kind of get upset at yourself, but know it's for the better.
And it usually stings at first.
Oh yeah, well it should.
Yeah,
it should. You know, and a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I'm okay with, you know, somebody telling me what I'm doing wrong as long as I know that I'm doing it." Well, I kind of disagree.
We say it all the time.
Like,
people when people go, "Man, I love being accountable."
Yeah, right.
No, you like the outcome of accountability.
That's right.
You don't like the way accountability feels.
Yeah, because your feelings get hurt now.
Yeah. So, so people are listening that have been thinking about finding a coach, and it could be in anything, right? It could be sports, it could be in your business, it could be physical, it could be spiritual, financial, everything. What are qualities of a good coach? And what are qualities of a bad coach?
Good question. I think good coaches have got to be phenomenal listeners. Just they've got to master that, and it's not to where they're scripted. Can't stand that.
Yep.
In other words, knowing what they're going to say next is just that irks me. So thankfully, I don't have any coaches that are that way. And it's actually listening to you and able to kind of work things together as well. It's not, hey, they have all the answers to it. Because if they did, they'd be doing it without you,
They just send you an email
Yeah.
and say, do this.
So I think it's good listening to them. Bad coaches, obviously, that they're not listening. They're scripted, and they're basically, hey, you do this, 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 and we're going to talk to you next week about this. And it's like, you didn't even understand what I'm talking about here. I'm having issues with, the listing side. I'm not going to be talking to you about FSBOs next week.
Yeah. Yeah. When I look at a bad coach, somebody that does not, they always have a hidden agenda, and it usually comes out pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
A bad coach is one of those where, so say it's a 30-minute coaching call, 20 minutes is them talking, and then 10 minutes is them asking you and then wrapping it up. I think there's a lot of coaches out there that get into coaching just because they want to hear themselves talk.
Yeah.
A good coach, you nailed on its head, listens, asks the right questions. And I think a good coach does not resolve everything in one call or 2 calls or 3 calls. You may leave that coaching session with more questions and uncertainty going forward because you peeled back layers of the complexity.
Well, I think also a coach is one that, doesn't tell you how to get the next deal, how to do the next piece of the equation. It's painting the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to convey the message in a way to where you are understanding. I always use the puzzle analogy. Individual that's able to kind of show you the picture on the box, but not picking up the pieces and putting them in play,
Yeah.
and being able to do the puzzle faster because they've put that puzzle together 5,000 times.
And the not telling you what to do next, there's a million books, podcasts, everything out there. Like the what to do next in certain industries or physical, if you will, as well. That's not rocket science.
No, and that's called a checklist.
Yeah, right? Like
That's how you do it.
physical. If you want to get in better shape, change what you're eating, eat less than you consume or than you exercise. Like it's not rocket science, but it's finding out what makes people tick, the why behind it.
The driver.
Yeah, and tying it to emotion. If you don't hit this goal, how does that make you feel? And who does that impact?
That's right.
Those are big ones. The true accountability piece.
Well, the accountability is, again, we talked about it earlier. I think the accountability is something that a lot of people say that they want, but they just can't handle it sometimes, or it's a little too abrasive for them.
Yeah, and great coaches are not for everybody. Just because somebody's a successful coach for somebody that doesn't mean they're going to be the best for you.
I totally agree with that.
So I think asking good questions before you start coaching with somebody is going to help set the standard and make it a healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So having that intake questionnaire of going, how do you coach? Like how do you like to receive criticism is a great.
Well, you should also have butterflies going into coaching session.
Yeah.
You should, meaning that, hey, you need to step up your game,
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes the best coaching sessions you're not looking forward to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth
Around
that. Yeah.
Good.
Yep. So you take off when?
I leave Friday morning, going to Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yep. And actually it's supposed to rain, I think.
And who knows? It could sleet.
And it's an outside football game I'm supposed to go to.
How'd you do in fantasy football this weekend?
Yeah, that's in this podcast.
Not good?
Not good at all.
Dude, I won in the literally the last 5 minutes of the game.
That's funny.
I beat old Javier.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. So we're myself and 10 or 12 agents are heading up to Phoenix tomorrow to go to a class called Growth Word Systems Orientation with Kristen, who is our coach.
There you go.
Which is going to be a great class. And yeah, it's good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Busy season. It's going to be a busy fourth quarter.
That's right.
So
Looking forward to the fourth quarter.
yeah, it's awesome. It's here. So,
All right.
all right. Well, have fun sitting outside in the rain watching the Packers play.
That's right, because the Broncos aren't playing.
Right. Not too good.
Yep, we won't go there.
Yep. Sad stuff. All right. So expect another podcast out next week.
Sounds good.
All right.
Later.
Peace out.